All right, what are we doing? We got all kinds of stuff going on. So my teammate Kyle has been really cool sending me stuff about the holes that these tournaments have been in before. And then I've been super busy and haven't been able to capitalize on it. So here we are. Where are we at? We're not in the monster tournament. We're in the deep sea. Where is the deep sea? The deep sea 9-hole cup. Drew Moore Links. Man, I have a storied history with Drew Moore Links. Hold on, let's find some Drew Moore Links. Let's see what I was searching. Drew Moore Links. Let's go to hole number one. Hole number one. All right. Rookie. We got two. We have two options, 1 and 2. So if you want to hit over here, I could swear that there is a rough bump here, even though it's not showing in this video. But I'm there. I think there's a rough bump there, but you can come at it from this direction. So I mean, if we draw our arc across, this is short iron range in here. So we're like long iron, maybe short iron, just depending on what ball we bring. But I think there is a pretty good shot coming in there. If you were hitting from the back tees, that's probably the way to go. But in rookie, we can get up into this area. We can get into mid short iron. And there's still a bunch of room on the table to go forward to probably get down into like max wedge if you bring out the right kind of ball. So it really depends where your red line's at down here is really going to depend on what ball club combo. I mean, obviously, if you could bring out a big enough ball and you had the wind right that you could get into that spot, you're in the clear. But I think I'm not sure if we can get up there. I'm going to post some holes for all of these holes for Drew Moore Links came out in the Celtic Cup. So I'll post that. And not on every hole, but on a lot of those holes, I am playing them totally different than I was then. But I think on this hole, I came out with a big chopper and a 3-power ball and just went forward. And I was doing plus 10 to the cup at mid club. And I'm switching from a Hornet to a Kingfisher. And so I'll be definitely at mid club. It might actually move me up a little bit. I may have to see how it goes out there, but I'm going to attempt this week to get farther out here. I want to see if I can. I want to try and roll it off into the water so that I can see like how aggressive you have to get can you even get it that far. Hole number 2. Now, I will tell you when these holes first come out, you don't really as personally, I don't really focus that much on the par 3s. Initially, I want to know how to get eagle on the par 5. I want to know how to set myself up to get Albie, but I'm super focused on getting the eagles on the par 4s. And the par 3s, some of them are pretty intuitive, and like everybody, like you're on a hole-in-one track all week and they're brand new. And some of them, it takes a few tournaments or a few times playing them to get used to them, and this is definitely one of those holes. And so while on a lot of these par 3s, I would tell you, if you run and get a hole, if you want to make sure that you get eagle, like let's slow down. If you want to get birdie on this par 3, you could come at it with backspin. You could bring a Saturn out. You could bring a Grim Reaper or something out so that you can start off either right off or on the green and stop it. And just how can you fail? But this particular hole, if you hit anything to the left, it will definitely end up over here, and you do not want to have anything to do with the left-hand side of this cup. If your ball rolls off on the left and has any speed and it catches the hill, even while you're on the fairway, if it catches the hill and it rolls down, once it starts that jog, you'll be lucky if it gets caught in the fringe or the fairway. Because typically once it starts that run down there, it's instantly in the rough. But the second time we played this tournament, I switched. I was talking to one of my buddies, Hammer and Hank. I don't think he plays Golf Clash anymore. I think he's doing golf Impact. I moved my setup to down here with my Grizzly, and I'm white ring off of this transitional surface. I'm doing a plus 15 thanks to my buddy Terry. My teammate Terry. Shout out Terry. I was doing a 10 that particular tournament. I was having it wasn't quite right, and Terry was like 15's the number, and I tried 15, and I started making hole-in-ones. So this went from a hole that I dreaded because it cost me big time in that particular tournament to a hole that I think we have a serious opportunity for hole-in-one. So I was doing plus 15% white ring off of this transitional surface with a half a backspin. And I was using left-hand side spin, but I was dialing it up to the cup. And it was right in the like 2 and a sliver or somewhere in that neighborhood. It wasn't a lot of side spin, and I was leaving it just a little short of the hole because it wants to roll out. Maybe like a square. And I think if there's headwind, you'll probably need to move that closer. But if there's tailwind, it's about a square. What else did we play this in? We played this in the 2020 St. Patrick's Day tournament. And the first time I ever tried that setup and I hit a perfect shot into the cup, I made a hole-in-one. It's doable. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and get out into here. I want to explore this out here to come in at the cup. I'm pretty sure the last time we played this that I had switched from hitting over here to hitting up forward, and that there was a rough bump that we could do here if you brought the right club. And I'm not sure what I was using, so I'll have to check it out. But there is a shot that we can do from up here, and I'm 100% sure that the last tournament I switched. But I think you've got to have the right stuff, and you can. Where you get screwed is if you end up in trouble down here, you can't recover because it's wood range from out here. So if we draw our arc, we're in wood range, and you're not recovering if you fail below that line. If you fail up here, you could recover. Or you've got several shots that you can recover from if you fail on the forward side. So that's the thing about this shot down here, is that if you fail, you know, with red line and topspin with a Nirvana, you're still going to have some work to get done on the other side. You can get in trouble down here, but you can recover, but you can get in trouble. And the only reason you can recover from down here is because you got a pretty straight up shot. In the past, I've always gone here, except for that. I'm pretty sure the last tournament I did a shot number 1. For me, shot number 2 is you can bring out a big enough ball that you can get your APOC or your extra mile over to the other side and come at it. But you're trying to get up into this range so that you're straightening out the shot to the cup. So if you draw a line from the fairway, from the transition between the fairway and the fringe, anything on the other side of that line, you're able to run it to the cup using less side spin. If you land on this side of the line, when you go to get to that spot, you're going to be facing off in this direction, and it'll take more to get you to the cup. And you don't want to have to pinch yourself up against that rough. You want to take it out of play. So if you get a little bit farther forward. So normally I will come out and I'll be like 4.5 rings off with a rock. You can do the same exact shot with a QB, and I'm thinking with a QB you're probably going to be maybe 3.5 rings off of this transitional surface. So you're 3.5 rings out into the fairway. Then you take the wind out and you do a max curl shot, and you'll have to figure out for your club how much topspin to put on, because you want to be coming down the center. Let me start over here. I got too many marks. You want to be down this center line so that you can pick up that distance. But if you're on the inside of it, you'll run in a fairway up here bleeding off. So you may have to adjust your topspin based off of how much curl you can get in your club. If you can start off on this side, this is the angle that you have here. So you're going from here to that spot. So you're trying to cover, if you're starting off down here, you're trying to cover this angle, and you've got to negotiate around this. So it can be a little bit tricky. You're going to find yourself more out in the middle here. And you can get about that same distance from over here on just a QB or a rock setup shot. Power 3, I'd use a Kingmaker. You can take this with a katana. And the deal is that the katana doesn't hurt you on the first shot, but on the second shot, you've got to be in front of that sand. And if you can get your snipe, and you can use a sniper on this if you're consistently getting in front of the sand using a power 3 ball. If you're finding yourself where you're short with your sniper and you can't get any more on the drive, you'll have to up it to a power 4 ball in order to get you in front of that area so you can really go for it. The last time we played this, I was playing my sniper at 1 per ring, and I was playing minus 10%. And I'm not sure that's right, but that's what I was playing. Hole number 4. There are several ways that we can go at this. This is another one of those holes that we can do. We can go straight at it. There is a bounce over from here that comes up to it. I'm not ever going to hit off of these types of hills. This right here is flat. And the fairway goes like this. Here's the fairway. And here's where the rough starts. So it's nice and flat, this transition here, and the area that you're starting off of is flat. So you can get a really good look at it. I believe there is a rough bump that you can do from here. And I'm going to explore the rough bump. If there is a rough bump that I can do from here, that's the shot I'm going to take, unless it involves me having to pull over the sand. So this might be a hole that I have that on those days where the wind is blowing in this direction and I have to adjust out, I either bring a low wind ball or I have to switch to my secondary shot, which is off of the hill. But these types of hills right here are shaped like this. Okay, so a lot of people, in order, because the tee box, if you look where the tee box is at, drawing to that hill, and then drawing to the pin, we've got to get that ball to bounce and go immediately to the right. And we don't want to have to do a bunch of curl because that's not repeatable. So in order to get that kind of movement on this type of hill, you've got to hit it right in this area right here. Because this area is going to make the ball, when it takes that bounce, it's going to throw it to the right. The higher up the hill you get, the more it'll either bounce straight up or it may bounce to the left. And that's how you see people that are hitting on these hills, and all of a sudden they're out here and they're like, what the F? Well, I mean, think about how this hill works. If there's a rough bump, and I think there is, I'm going to take that shot. That's number 1. This is shot number 2. If I can't do shot number 1, I'm going to do shot number 2. Shot number 3 is to come right at it. You can come over to this side right here and you can bring a club that's got backspin and you can go right at it. You may be able to get that done with a grizzly as well. And then shot number 4 would be going off this island. I do see a lot of people go off this island though, and I don't understand why. It's just how I look at the game. That's the deal. I'm sure that there's a shot over there that if you can hit perfect, it will go in. Now this hole right here has been the, this is like a 50-50 hole, and it seems like when I need it the most, I don't get it, and when it's nice to have, I get it. But there's a bunch of different ways that you can go at this. So when I first started playing this hole, just because of the size of the stuff that we had, I'd lay it up right out here. It's super easy to lay up out there, and you've got a nice, beautiful shot coming in, and you've got options. You can bounce it over, you can rough bump it, or you can start off on the other side. So you got backspin, topspin, combo, right? So I mean, you've got all kinds of different options depending on where you want to be at in your club or how you want to play it. So that was, when I first started playing this hole, this was my shot. You can come out into this area, and so your red line's going to be somewhere in here depending on what size ball you're bringing. And you can try and get it to go from the tee box, if we can get everything in it at the same time, from the tee box down here, trying to come, you're going in this angle, and from this pivot point you want to try and get into this zone somewhere up in this area. And you can get down in here, so that if you're using max overpower, you can get down here depending on the size of the ball you're bringing. You can get down in this area so that you're forward clearing this trap. So if you brought an Apocalypse and you put all the curl on it, you could get the run going right straight through that fairway and end up right off the green. And that shot, you can practice that shot a few times depending on the balls that you want to bring out and the club that you have. And you can get that shot worked out. The issue that I see a lot happen on this shot over here, as far as fail point, is people don't understand how curl works. And so they're trying to get this line and they're pinching it up down here at the bottom instead of moving it more to the left and giving themselves more room for the curl to develop. And what I see happen when they do on this inside one is they get caught up in these rocks, and sometimes you can get out and you're fine. And sometimes you can get out and you're either in the rocks or in the rough or in the sand, but there's a big percentage of the time if you're taking that shot and you pinch it too much and you hit it great to the right, or anything happens to the right, you could end up in the drink. And that's bad. That's no bueno. So it's better on these shots if you move them out to the right so that your curl can develop. And if you get caught up out here, it's not the end of the world. So if you get caught up out here, then you can use that as your starting point to move in, but you're still on the safe side. But I see a lot of people starting off on the bad side. That's not good. Now, another way to play this hole, there's several ways that you can get from this landing area here over to this side. So I have tried just like landing on this island. So you have that shot. And I've tried hitting the island and then bouncing over to try and get over to the other side. I've tried rough bumping it to get over to the other side, and I have not been successful, like super consistent successful on any of that. It's been a 50-50 mix. But I'm going to go for the shot where I'm doing the rough bump, trying to get over, and it takes power 5 ball. I'm just a messenger. Like if you want to get, like there are some great shots over to this side, and you can probably do them depending on wind with a power 3 or a power 4. You may be able to get to do them. But if you bring out a power 5 ball, you're definitely increasing your odds. And this is a par 4 that we absolutely can get, and we absolutely need to get, because there's going to be enough people at the top of the bracket. The people at the top of the bracket are the ones that are going to get this hole. They've got this hole figured out, and they got it both times. So we have to get this hole. And obviously, the closer that you can be, if you can be on the green side, I mean, your odds of making it are super good. That's why the shot from over here, if you can end up right off the green right here, you've got a great shot coming in. And any of these shots down here, sand or rough, it's all going to boil down to perfect. So they're all super makeable shots. All right, hole number 6. What do we got? Drew Moore Links, hole number 6. All right, this hole right here has... There is a shot that you can do if you come out to this tip where you're coming at it and you're trying to do a rough bump. I don't like this particular type of rough. This isn't my favorite type of rough bump because the rough is running at this angle and you're coming at it from this direction. And so we got the sand running right here and then it's curling around. And we got fairway down in here. So we've got this little line. And so when you're coming out, you're having to put a lot of spin on it in order to get the ball to come towards the cup. And so fail points, if you hit it perfect, you got a great shot. If you hit it great to the right, you're going to hit further back in the rough. But you put enough topspin on it to get it up to the cup that you're probably going to roll out. But anything great to the left, the fairway lengthens out. And so you've got to hit it farther for that second bounce. And the left is problematic. You could end up getting caught in the rough where you did the rough bump, but the second bounce also hit the rough and it instantly killed it. And the second bounce in a rough bump needs to hit the fairway. So that side over there, there is a shot from over there. There is a shot if you end up anywhere down in this lower area, because you can take it from this angle and you can do the bounce over. Depending on what ball club combo you have, you may be able to just do the rough bump and just go straight at it, or you may have to bounce it off this island. The thing about bouncing it off this island when you're coming at it from this direction, because of this rough here, is that you can, if you don't make a great adjustment or if you didn't hit it perfect, you could potentially get caught up there on a recovery shot, because this would definitely be a recovery shot. Whereas if you brought it over to this side right here, your ball guide's going off like this, but more than likely you'd come at this with a sniper, and this is a very easy max curl. Probably only have to put on 3 or 4 topspin. Max curl, no overpower, and just bring it up here to the cup. So if you weren't close to the cup and you were right off, even if you were a little short, you still got a super easy recovery shot. Whereas over here, you could end up getting caught up in the rough or the sand. The way to come at this is to get out into this area out here so that you've got a long iron coming in. And there's a really fine line out here between long iron and wood. Now you can bring out a power 4 ball to help you out on the drive. So on the drive, when we leave the tee box coming from this area, if you bring out an Apocalypse and a power 3 ball, or an Extra Mile and a power 3 ball, your red line's way down on this side. So your ball guide's going out like this. And your first bounce is here, and with side spin, if you're using a big side spin ball, you can get your second bounces on the other side of that. So with a little bit of curl, you can bring it back towards the center and get a lot of forward run just with a power 3 ball. But if you bring in a power 4 ball and you want to get maximum distance, because what I see a lot of people do is they'll bring out a power 3 or a power 4 ball, and then, because with a big topper, your red line's back in here. And so if you don't have any bigger balls or big clubs, you can use a big topper on this, and you can start off from this point right here with a power 3 ball and go forward. But your first bounce is here, your second bounce is here. So you've got to negotiate through the gap. If you bring out a little bit bigger ball, you can start on the other side with your second bounce, so that as long as your first bounce is even close, your second bounce will be, you should be fine. Try and get up into this range right here where you can get past that line and get into your long iron. You got a serious look at it with the long iron. Which hole is this? Hole number 6. I went and looked at some of these holes, and so on this one I had plus 10 on the drive and plus 20 to the cup. And I don't know if those are right, but that's where I was at last time I played these. Last time. I was making some shots though. Hole number 7. I think this is another one of those par 3s where we're coming at it from the island. I think we're bouncing over. I can't remember on this one. Obviously, we can come right at it on this side right here with a backspin club. So if this is in, pretty sure this is, yeah, from this angle, coming from here straight to the cup, you can bounce off the island. This island's nice and flat. Everything over here's got movement to it. So if you hit it, when it's got movement like this and you hit it here, and that's where you were aiming and everything was perfect, and it does exactly what you want. But if you hit it right there, and you see the difference between those two? I mean, any little spot anywhere around it is going to, because there's so much movement on the course, it'll change the ball's trajectory. So hitting off of this flat surface is definitely going to be beneficial. There must be a rough bump that you can do from here, but you'd have to bring out a club that's got a lot of topspin. Lots. I'll have to work on that hole. I remember I just played some Tour 5 yesterday, and I got this hole several times, and I just played it, but I'm 100% sure I was playing it from the island on the flat surface coming at it. Hole number 7. Any notes? I say grizzly. That's it. That's all my notes say. All right. This hole right here is, this is, you can get to over here and try and get your bounces right so that you get your first bounce as deep as you can in here. You get one bounce, 2 bounces, 3 bounces, and then you're still moving in a forward direction, and you're trying to just bleed through that rough at the end. You have no control over it down there. So if you got your bounces right, it's definitely max topspin, because you're trying to do a rough bump at the very end, so you just want it to come out on the green side. And if you can achieve that shot, you're in the freaking catbird seat, right? You're in the clear. Even if you're in the rough or the sand down here, you still got a great shot at it. But you can just shoot to get down into this area. I'm going to try and deal with, let me pull up which hole this is. I'm going to use an extra mile, a kingmaker. You could the Kingmaker is at the red line and I'm pulling the wind out. But if we had any forward moving wind, I'd want to switch to a power 4 ball so that I gave myself a little bit of room so that I could work the wind out. I'm using 6 topspin, and my secondary club is a rapier. And my goal is to get bounce number 1, and I'm pretty much centered in this fairway. And so you got bounce number 1, bounce number 2, bounce number 3 in the rough, and then I want to bleed out onto this so that I have this chip shot, because I think that consistency wise I can get to this spot and do this shot more times than I can get over to the other side, and I have a better chance of making this shot than I do the shots from the rough or the sand. Although the shots in the rough and the sand, all you got to do is hit them perfect and they'll go in. Pretty much. So I'm going to go from extra mile, Kingmaker. That's a 9. Bounce number 1, bounce number 2, bounce number 3, bleeding off into the deal. Now, if I do a max overpower here to get like out into this area and I change the ball, it's not about how big of a ball or what the deal is. What it's about is at max overpower, you can get your bounces so that you got 1 bounce in this fairway, 1 bounce at the bottom of the fairway, it bounces all the way over, and then it bleeds through the rough. So if you don't touch this fairway, you're not going to get the forward movement to try and bleed through that rough. If you do anything back here, it's your best opportunity is just to end up in that fairway. You'll have to look at what clubs you have, what balls you have in your inventory on that hole for sure. But that's definitely a hole we can make. This hole right here is the bane of my freaking existence. This hole in that par 3, that first par 3 that I now like. All right, where was I? Hole number 9. This hole is the freaking... The first time this came out, I lost a tournament on this hole. Hole 18, all I had to do was come out here and get an eagle. I'd be in the clear, in one ahead of the person in second, and the person in second was ahead of the person in third. Would have been out in the clear, and ended up getting a freaking par on this, and ended up tanking my entire round on this hole. And the shot that I was taking was coming in here with a rock. I think at the time I was using a QB. It might have been a rock. But you can use either one. And you want to use something that's got great ball guide, good accuracy. It's very easy down here. It doesn't really represent it here, like if you scroll in, like what this terrain looks like right here. But anybody who's ever been on this hole, here's the fairway, and then there's the stuff. Hey, it's bad. If you roll off the front and you're done. You're done for. If you get in that rough, you're done for. You're not going to end up right here in the rough. You're going to be done. You're going to be in the drink. And from that spot, which really shouldn't be that damn hard to get to, with I think I was using a power 4 ball. You can get and I think you can do it with a Titan or a Kingmaker, depending on the wind. There was just a window on the other side for a big dog. So if you had a big dog or a Cataclysm, something of that length with that topspin, you could get up on the green, and you didn't have like a serious shot at Albie, but you had a shot. And you could set that shot up. You didn't have enough ball guide to get you way down there to the hole, but you gave yourself at least a look at it. Not too bad. You can come off of the tee and come out into this direction and try and hit it out here. I've tried to do the shot where you do the max overpower hook shot with a big topper, max topspin, trying to get it to come out in here, and I have actually overshot it. I found myself more out in this area where I actually made the shot even worse for myself. But if you do find yourself out in this area and you bring a big dog, and I think you can do this with a 3-power ball, your red line's going to be somewhere up in this area, and you can work out a max overpower hook shot. So you come in with your big dog and you can end up on the green. So you can recover from down here, or if you're just in that area and that's where you want. Most people are going to come at this with a bigger power ball. like a power. You can do this with. You don't have to do it with a power 3 ball, but a lot of people are going to want to get deeper out into it to try and get more out into this area than to get into this area. But if you're in this area right here, you're starting off on this side, and you can bring a sniper and you can go at it. And that's hitting through the rocks. So in most cases, you can make it through the rocks. I do not like hitting into the rocks. That's why I did this shot, but I'm just going to hit it out here. And I really haven't ever committed for a tournament to like hitting into the rocks. So I'm going to commit to just hit it out into this area and bring my sniper in, because with your sniper, you got a serious look at it. Serious look at it. The last few times I ended up in the fairway, nice sniper, in the sand. You could still get on. You can engage your Spitfire from here, and with all the topspin, easy on. End up in the rough, easy on with a Nirvana. So anywhere out in here, if you can get to this point, you're good. If you end up here in the rough, you're still good. If you end up in the rocks, and that's bad. That's it. That's these holes. So I do see some holes, like just going through them real quick. Hole number 1, we've got a great shot here of getting eagle. Hole number 2, we have a great shot at a hole-in-one. I mean, this is a hole right here. We definitely want to try and get the hole-in-one on. Got a great shot at Albie. Got another good shot at hole-in-one. And we've got some options on these holes. Another shot at, this is one of those par 4s that we have an opportunity where we could get on in one or right off in one. So we definitely have a great opportunity. We have to get this. We almost have to get this one. Hole number 6. Another great opportunity, straight up shot where we can get into our long iron range. Good opportunity for an Albie. Another good opportunity for a hole-in-one. Absolutely great opportunity for eagle. And the last hole, if we can put ourselves out into this area, we do have a shot. So this is the progression of these courses when they first come out. Like, this was a pretty tough course when it first came out, but now we have better ball selection. More people have played it. We've played it for longer. People have figured out different shots on it. We've had enough time to. It's almost like playing Magic the Gathering. You're playing a set of cards, and then all of a sudden they come out with another set before you can learn how to play it. But we've had these in play long enough that every hole we have an opportunity to pick up a shot. And there's some of them that we seriously do. There's at least 3 of them. We have serious opportunities that we almost have to pick up. All right, that was the Drew Moore Links. That's the Deep Sea 9-hole Cup. Thanks for watching, and hopefully everybody has a great tournament. I've been working on the weekends because of the weather, so we've been trying to get as much stuff done as we can, and so I haven't had a lot of time. But I will try and play this week, and I will catch you on the next one.